So did that discipline, I want to go to that moment because I think a lot of people, it's separate from the entrepreneurial realm, but I think a lot of people listening do care about fitness or maybe, constantly are starting and restarting. Talk to me a little bit about how you got committed to follow through with fitness, right? Because I'm sure you've seen it so often where people jump on the bandwagon or January 1st. What was it that made you commit and follow through?
For me, it wasn't a vanity thing. Mm-hmm. See, I think when it's a vanity thing, like, I only have 5 to 15, 20 pounds to lose, you could either lose it or you can hide under loose clothes.
Right.
That's not going to cut it.
Right.
Like, for me, the pain was so great of being a fat kid, of being picked on, that I had to change my entire physique. Like, for me, it was a matter of survival.
So the motivation was high enough,
My
right?
reason why was so high that there's no way I wouldn't have done it.
That it lasted. Yeah, exactly.
Like, as somebody said, here's steroids, take it then, I would have taken steroids, right? Because I was just so eager to be out of that pain. Not only am I a foreigner, so at that point now I'm speaking English well and I'm dressing normal, right? But I'm still awkward and fat and out of shape. So I wanted to get rid of all of those things.
How overweight were you at?
35 pounds overweight.
Wow.
And dude, in high school, like, that's substantial.
Yeah, of course,
And that's, kids are going to pick on you.
And Kaya, of course, wasn't interested in you.
She wasn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't. That didn't help either. Right? It's like, come on,
I'm
Kaya.
sure every rep you're thinking about it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so now all of a sudden I've got all this anger and rage from being picked on and bullied, and I've got all the strength. And so after high school, I was working as a personal trainer in a gym, but me and some friends that I had met, I don't know if I'd call them friends now. Looking back, they're probably more like acquaintances. I had something to gain from them. They had something to gain from me.
Right.
We decided that we were going to carjack people and strip their cars and sell their cars, like Honda Civics and Accords.
Oh, shit. So you did this multiple times? Or just
Many times, yeah. One of the times we did this, we tried to carjack a young Asian guy who was driving a Honda Civic. And Honda Civic, the parts are worth a lot of money. Like, you can get more for the parts, probably even now, although we shouldn't even go down that rabbit hole. But I wonder if I could carjack someone now. But we had a little strategy. We pull in front of that car under a red light, back up so they can't get out. Then I would get out.
So while they're in the vehicle?
While they're in the vehicle, pull them out of the car, and then I drive off with the vehicle. My friend drives off with the other vehicle. Well, as it turns out, there was another vehicle of their friends with them.
Yeah.
He gets in his friend's car and they follow us.
Right.
Later that night, 13 of them come and whoop the shit out of us. I end up in the hospital.
Man.
They were part of an Asian gang. I had no idea. And so that's karma. That's karmic justice. I deserved that.
Wow.
There's so many times that, one of the times, like I said, we were in a police helicopter chase, right? Like, we obviously weren't able to get away with the car. We were in a police helicopter chase. And imagine getting pulled over and a cop's foot on your neck and you're just wondering, like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, like what?
And that was the breaking point.
Events. Yeah.
It wasn't that 13 gangbangers whooped my ass and put me in the hospital. It was after that, it was that the cops chased me and I could go to jail now and my life could be completely different.
Right.
And
how old were you at that time?
Oh man, early 20s, 21, 22. Yeah, just fuming with anger and rage.
So at this point, there's no goals or big dreams or nothing. It's
no,
just,
man. I'm going to work as a personal trainer in the gym. And as a personal trainer.
So you were doing this holding up cars while you were a personal trainer back then?
Yeah. Like, I had like 4 clients in the gym.
Holy shit.
Right? I had 4 clients in the gym. That certainly wasn't enough money. So I didn't need to. I chose to strip cars down versus either learn to sell or get a side job, right? Ultimately, I ended up getting multiple side jobs.
It's crazy. But that police helicopter chase, it literally was chasing you guys and you were in the car.
Yeah. I was the getaway driver. Yeah.
Holy
I was the getaway driver.
What's going through your mind?
All right, this is actually a funny story. And I'm not advocating people go and get in a police helicopter chase at all. But my car was a 79 Toyota pickup. This particular time, I was the guy that was going to pull in front of the car that we're going to jack. And I scooted back. And of course, turns out there happened to be a random cop nearby who then calls the helicopter, right? Now, when you're in a 79 Toyota pickup, it's got a 4-cylinder engine. That thing's not going to go too fast, right?
Right.
So I'm going down La Palma in Anaheim, down the streets of La Palma and Crescent, trying to haul ass in a 79 Toyota pickup. You're not going anywhere. So at some point, because the cops don't want to chase you because then you're going to be a danger to people, the cops in the cars back off and the helicopter just gives chase. So I see everywhere I turn, I see the helicopter turn with me. I turn, the helicopter turns with me.
And your heart's just adrenaline, just unbelievable anxiety.
My heart is pumping. The guys in the car are like, dude, slow down so we can jump out. I'm like, I'm not going to slow down for you guys to jump out. You guys jump out, I'm taking the heat by myself. Like, in that moment, I realized I'm not their friends. They're not my friends.
Wow. That's
because
scary, dude.
For a friend, I would do that. I would have slowed down.
Right.
But for acquaintances, for guys who I have something to gain and you have something to gain, and we're just going to carjack people, strip down a car in one night, and then go sell the parts, or we just sell the parts to someone else who then sells individual pieces.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I'm like, you know what, guys? I gave up. I was like, guys, I'm going to pull over into this gas station. And I pulled over into an Arco gas station.
And they're screaming in the car. Like, you guys are all like shitting bricks.
The guys are freaking out.
Right, yeah.
One guy, this is before the 3-strike law
Right, yeah.
had passed in the States.
Thank God.
One guy already had like, he's like, dude, he had a misdemeanor. And he's like, if they catch us, like, I'm going to jail for a long time. And he did. He went to jail for a long time. But little did I know, and this is the funny part, is while I thought, oh, it's just a helicopter and we're okay, I'm going to pull into the gas station, here's our chance for all of us to run. The moment I pull into Arco, the helicopter just kind of peels away. 4 unmarked cars. Turns out there were cars around us. There were unmarked cars. They just swarm onto the gas station and rip us out of the car with a quickness.
Yeah.
Like, so just the black and white cars went away.
Yeah, so you're not even expecting it, not thinking. Yeah.
While the helicopter's following us, unmarked cars are just hovering around us. I'm thinking, here's our chance. We're going to run away. Dude, but I just barely opened my door. It got yanked open for me, and I was thrown to the ground, right? I deserved it all.
Of course, you're the driver, so you get the brunt of it. Yeah.
right. Yeah, so to me, in my head, I'm kind of laughing. I'm like, man, I thought there was no cops around. Like, where did they come from? Did they rappel down? In that moment, I was, the unmarked cars. Got it. Yeah, very awful experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then after that, is that when you obviously got thrown in jail for a little bit at least or something?
Believe it or not, I didn't.
No way.
Believe it or not, I didn't. Because I wasn't the one who was carjacking. My buddy was.
So okay.
I was the getaway driver.
Yeah.
My license got suspended. I had to pay, and I did community service because I had no record.
And then did your family find out about this?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? The repercussions I faced from my dad,
right.
A communist,
I
angry
came to this
dude.
country, how dare you?
Right,
you know?
right, exactly.
Did all that. Yeah.
Bro, he didn't even just like backhand me like he normally would as a kid. He was beating you with a fistful of keys, right?
Wow, man.
I don't know how many, he had like 30, 40 keys. I don't even know what doors those things opened.
Yeah.
But I remember like, holy shit, I'm taking a beating here. And you don't dare swing it on your father, even if you're 20-something. Of course,
yeah.
Because then my older brother jumps in, then it's over. Yeah.
So then was that the moment where it was a catalyst? You're like, all right, I need to do something different? Or did you still kind of travel down that road?
That's
for
when
a
I
little bit?
realized, like, for every one of my actions, there's an equal reaction, karma, right? And so literally that was over a weekend. Monday morning, I'm telling Jim Franco, one of my personal training clients, like, hey man, I had a really shitty weekend. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Tuesday. Monday I didn't make it to work. It was Tuesday. Hey, I had a really shitty weekend. He goes, so why are you stripping cars? Why are you dealing with cops? Why do you hang out with lowlifes? He was in his 60s. He owned this business called Autolog, and they did the software for mom and pop auto parts store. Like when you go and say, hey, I've got a 79 Toyota pickup and I want an oil filter for it. You know, they look for your oil filter.
Right, yeah. So you did the software for that.
Yeah.
And I know Franco ended up being one of your early mentors in business, right?
Earliest mentors. And so he goes, why are you doing all this? I go, well, I need the money. He goes, well, I see how many people you let walk out of this LA Fitness, because I was a personal trainer at LA Fitness.
Right.
I go, well, they tell me they can't afford it. He goes, no, they can afford it. You just don't know how to sell. I go, but I sold you. And I was mouthing off. I go, but I sold you, Jim. I sold you a 6-month training package. He goes, you didn't sell me. You're an order taker. He goes, I knew I wanted personal training. I knew I wanted to work out for 3 times a week. And I knew I wanted about 6 months of training. You just filled my order like a waitress, right? Like a waitress.
He tells you like it is.
Not even a waiter. And that's what I needed to hear in that moment. I needed to be set straight in that moment, because while I'm so blessed and thankful for my father bringing us to this country, he worked so hard that I never got any mentorship or guidance from him. I was raised like a savage otherwise, right?
Right, yeah.
And when you're raised like a savage with a lot of anger and hate in your heart and a chip on your shoulder, you know, these days I'll make posts about how I have a fire in my belly, a chip on my shoulder, and rage in my eyes. Now, that's true, and I channel all that for good. But you take a young man who's fit and athletic and full of all that hate and anger, that's fucking destruction. Yeah. And so Jim says, hey man, you're an order taker. I'm gonna bring you cassette tape that I need you to listen to tomorrow. And he brings me this cassette tape, right? Now, by this point, I'm like, what's the year? Like early 90s.
And personal development wasn't even on your radar then, right? No way.
First, I've never even heard of the word personal development, self-development.
Right.
He brings me a tape from, not Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins.
Yes.
Real estate sales, right? And the first thing I said, Jim, it says real estate sales. I'm a personal trainer. This isn't going to help me. He goes, just every time he says real estate, you hear it as personal trainer. Okay, great. So I wore it at night, fell asleep listening the first night. Second night, try to listen to it again. I heard him talking about Brian Tracy. I bought Brian Tracy cassette tapes. Brian Tracy led to Zig Ziglar to Tony Robbins to Jay Abraham, and Gary Halbert and Dan Kennedy. Like,
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
marketers love them. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm learning sales, marketing, influence, persuasion.
Copywriting, yeah, exactly.
And in the process, I'm learning affirmations, like self-love, right? Like, I like myself. Like Brian Tracy was like, go stand in the corner in one of the cassette tapes and just jump up and down and say, I like myself, I like myself. And that is the stupidest thing you could ever do, but it's so stupid, you can't help but have a smile on your face.
Right, yeah.
And it changes your state, doesn't it?
Yeah, your biochemistry, even.
Yes.
Yes, your physiology,
Yes.
everything, yep.
And Tony Robbins always says the fastest thing you can do is change your state. You might not be able to change your mind right now or change the outcome of whatever's hurting you, but you can change your state.
Yeah, it says emotion is created by motion.
Yes. And so now I'm learning self-love, self-acceptance, all this stuff, and I'm closing people left and right, man. And so Jim says, dude, you're a machine. Why don't you open up your own gym? Oh, okay. So that leads to opening up a personal training studio of my own. That led to 4 more. I had a total of 5.
So that personal development really planted the seed and got you on the train tracks of getting things right. Now, would you say, and I'm really curious, would you say that personal development, you consciously were applying it, or just naturally who you were becoming was just allowing you to naturally become better at sales and better at self-love and communicating? And
Good question. I'd say it was a 80-20 split. 20% of the time I was making a conscious effort, because you do have to make an effort.
Right, yeah.
People go, man, I read a book. I always go, how was the book? Great, life-changing. Have you applied it? No. Then you haven't read it.
And that's most people, if they're being honest, yeah.
You've gathered information, but it hasn't changed your life. It's changed other lives, not yours.
Or
Right?
maybe it's inspired you, but it hasn't done anything for your income or your life or your body or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. So for me, about 20% of the time I would try and apply it, but of course, your instincts are always to go back to default, revert to default, go back to pessimism, skepticism, cynicism, right? Which is where I lived. I lived in that place. Optimism was not where I was. Abundance was not where I was. I would visit there 20% of the time and then detour right back to skepticism.
Right.
Through repetition of listening and hearing and then surrounding myself, one of the best things I had going for me as a personal trainer was that all of my clients were affluent. So they were organically optimistic.
Was that because of area or location?
The area,
gym?
it was in the La Habra area, and La Habra is, pretty affluent.
Right.
And then, Fullerton, Coyote Hills, that area.
In Orange County, California.
Yeah, right. So it's pretty affluent, number one. And number two, if you're paying $600 to $800 a month for a personal trainer, you probably have some money.
Right, yeah.
Or the spouse has some money.
Right.
And you probably come from a white collar family. You probably have experienced things that I haven't.
Yeah.
And so it was so cool to realize, hey, Jim's not my only mentor. Like, all my personal training clients are my built-in mentors.
Right.
But I only experienced that after listening to these audio tapes and ultimately CDs and stuff.
So they got to see you. It goes back to the resourceful thing. They got to see you. They allowed you to kind of open your mind and see how you could be more resourceful with what you currently have.
Yeah.
Because somebody else could have been in your exact shoes and just seen them as clients, but you saw them now as teachers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so how did that sort of apply to you then starting your own business and sort of scaling your fitness empire, which is now this huge multi-million-dollar company that you have today?
It's funny you say about them becoming teachers, because they literally did. All of a sudden, when Jim Franco says you should open up your own gym, well, I just took it for a grain of salt. Like, crazy old man, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right?
You got your own limiting beliefs. I can't do it.
Yeah.
How am I going to afford it? I don't know taxes, credit, all that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know the stuff. I didn't go to school for business. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a meathead. I just want to help people. That's it.
I can do that later. I have time. I'm young. Yeah.
And so, but I would share it with my other clients. I'm like, hey, my morning client, Jim Franco, says that I should open up my own gym. And I'm waiting for them to go, he's crazy. They go, yeah, you should. So now I've got this affluent person, that affluent person, that affluent person believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. In my head, I'm like, if he only knew how dumb I was, if he only knew what a foreigner I am, if he only knew how little I know about business, right? Yet each of them are like, yeah, you can. And they would all tell me their little bit of story about their adversity, where they came from, how they were dyslexic, how they had the odds stacked against them. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe I was a foreigner and I was picked on and bullied, but in some ways, they had their own trauma. He had his own trauma. He had his. Yet they became entrepreneurs. And now I've got all these entrepreneurs and white-collar folk believing in me. For the longest time, when I didn't believe in myself, I borrowed their belief.
If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we bring you the very best in personal development content, interviews, and insights to help inspire you to take your life and your dreams and make them a reality. And also, if you want to know how to book dream guests the same way I have, you can check the link below for my top 3 secrets. So if you have a podcast or a show or whatever it is and you want to collaborate with them, if you click that link below, I'll give you those top 3 secrets to help you get in touch with anybody. And also, don't forget that The Passionate Few is available on media platforms as well. So you can subscribe to the podcast. And until next time, Thank you for being one of the passionate few.